All right, so we're getting set up here, removing the bark. You know, this there's 4 slabs in this project for my customer, and I would recommend having a very sturdy base. You can see these sawhorses are moving. Scotty's like, yeah, where are you gonna pull that to? You know, it'll work, but it's not ideal. You really want to have a bench, a good stable base to remove the bark. These are kiln dried slabs. You know, it wasn't too difficult. You'll see in the next shot, change the angle of the camera and the bark comes off really like it's supposed to, like you want it to. You know, I've heard, well, if the slab's not dry, then the bark won't come off easily. Well, I've worked with plenty of dry slabs, and I think it just varies tree to tree. I don't know, maybe you know, comment if there is something about the bark relative to the tree being, or the slab being dry. Like, yeah, right here, you know, if you can get your draw knife, and my draw knife is pretty sharp, and you also want to be sure to remove, it's kind of like a thin layer below the bark. You know, get as much of that off with your draw knife. It'll save you on the next step. Some people use like a grinder with a flap wheel. I used to do that, makes a huge mess, and since I have switched to my Rotex, I actually have a dedicated interface just for that. It's a little beat up. So anyway, we're moving on here and surfacing the slab. So shimming process, you know, shimming, there's a little art to it, a little bit of a process, and you just want to get one side surfaced. Split the difference, you know, measure when you're shimming off of your surface, your spoil board, or you know, the bed of your CNC, whatever that may be, and just get every corner as close as you can. You know, most of these slabs, there's a little warping to them. It's okay if you can find that mid ground and get everything. I think for this one, I was pulling tape and wanted to get everything as close to the 3 inches. These were 12-quarter slabs. I think it was around 3 inches I was shooting for at each corner, and it makes the next step of the process much, much easier. And it'll help you maintain thickness if that's important for your project. So, yeah, that's important. Shimming. You get better over time, for sure. I think this is... I didn't show too much of the surfacing. We'll look at it again after the tables are poured and out of the form. We resurface everything at that point too. All right, so once we're done surfacing, start utilizing some of the other tools that can expedite the surfacing, get both faces coplanar. So we're indexing off of the surfaced side from the CNC. So that's face down, and utilizing the planer just to get the other side cleaned up and on the same plane. You can see him kind of waddling, scooting back, making the adjustment. These, at this point, I want to say they came out pretty good. I want to say I went into the pour all of 2 inches, 2.2. And yeah, we finished up at 1.82. And it would have been a little thicker. I'll share with you why it wasn't. Yeah, there were a few bloopers in this overall project, and really tested my mental fortitude. So that one's pretty close. I'm just using horses and kind of jockeying around the best I can. This was on a weekend, running solo. This one's pretty good. Pull it right. Section in the middle. So you might be wondering, hey, your other one pulled it, not clean. Well, yeah, it doesn't really matter because we're doing a pour and everything's going to get surfaced again. Ended up working out just fine. Tables came out great. These tables were actually, they were for the International Woodworking Foundation trade show, the IWF. It's like the pinnacle trade show for woodworkers, and what you see right there, I just pulled tape to check. I don't know if you could see in that frame when I was waddling back to the infeed side of the planer. It's right at one of the live edges. There was like just a little area where I hadn't gotten surface down, and you can kind of see right near my hand there, and kitty corner on the opposite end. So I'm just going to pull tape again, lose the tape, hook it back up, not put it in the planer. And I'm trying to get an idea if I'm going to be okay after I make my cuts on the length to get into the form. So lo and behold, excuse me, here they are. They look pretty good. No real concerns at this point. Now, let's talk about this. How do we figure out what volume is going to be? So mark every 6 to 12 inches on the length. Once you're in your form or you have your layout, note the width at each mark, the width between the live edge, right? And I usually round up. It's okay to have a little extra or to over pour, and then calculate your average width. So, if you're going every 12 inches and you're working with, an 8-foot slab, then you're going to have your 8 marks, and you total them up, divide them by 8, and there you go. What's that average? And then you need to get a I think I use a UCalc calculator that I have. It's a little dashboard I have in my website, and maybe I can make that accessible. If you guys want it, comment, let me know. And gals, guys and gals. So yeah, I punch in my length, my width, my thickness. It does the formula, has the formula baked into the calculator, and it gives it back to me in liters and gallons. Some of the resin companies sell in gallons, some sell in liters. Most sell in liters, though. So once I have that, I can get into the mix, right? Portion out my my resin. This table is for Sirca. This pigment matches their branding. It's somewhat of a custom black diamond pigment. I think blue slate with maybe a little Bora Bora. And what we ended up doing on this table was a double river. So this primary river is off center by a little bit, but then there is a companion river, right? A secondary river that's offset closer to one of the sides, and that's where I had a blooper. So pour the main river, and I'm gonna pour the secondary. Remember, one of those slabs kept getting, it got a few more passes through the planer, and you'll see where that is in a moment, because the resin's going to over pour from that smaller river and come back towards the main river. So obviously that thinner slab is the one that's in the middle, right? So what happened, another one of the bloopers I had on this project is, drum roll, yeah, the form fell over. One edge of the form near where I am right now. So this pour was a little later in the day. My buddy Vic is there helping me out. And so yeah, we're gonna do the black table, the Gemini table. Decided, you know what, let's do that tomorrow. So there's the overpour. Essentially that slab in the middle is totally covered, and we know we're going to get all of that surfaced off. I have plenty of thickness to hit my spec, but right where Vic is, that fell over, so I lost all of that resin, had to remix, re-pour, and you know what? Nail or screw your form together. It's that simple. Here's the black one, big wide river. I want to say that was about 50 some, almost 60 liters in each of these tables. Actually, this one got more than that because it got poured twice. So, fun. There's a reel on Instagram where I show the massive, massive mess resin makes when it pours out of your form overnight. So then, like I mentioned, we're going to surface the tables when they come out of the form. So we're going to bring them down to target thickness, and leave a little bit of room to make a few passes through the sander and get into the booth ultimately. So there it is, all surfaced. Rubber has a little sawdust on it. We'll just take care of that. Okay, so we're switching it up here. So the underside of both of these tables were the same size. So I spun up some files so I could cut the pockets out so our 1/4 inch top plate on the legs would be flush to the bottom of the table. So we cut that out, and we also cut the areas for, we used 2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/8 inch steel C-channel, and we have that fabricated. We get it slotted, cut to length for essentially each project. Nothing, we don't really keep a lot of it in stock, but that goes to powder coat with the legs, so everything matches. The undercarriage is what I call it, and it always looks great with this method. So there you can see we have a nice little micro bevel, just breaking those edges so the finish will take and prevent damage. These tables, again, they're for a trade show, and they're going to be used at the IWF. The crate we built is, reusable. So here we're doing the edge profile for the bottom. So we're using, I guess it's a 115 degree bit or 150 degree chamfer bit, but it cuts a 15 degree bevel basically. So spraying, I had a lot of time. Ultimately, I had issues, and it was my fault. User error. I over agitated the finish. You can see I'm using those SATA RPS cups, spraying with a SATA 1000B RP, and this is a Sirca product. I'll have the details on that specific product in the description. Once Rich worked out the formula with me and got me squared away on not over agitating, I was shaking these cups vigorously, and that was what we suspect is it was causing the finish to flash in the cup, and I was getting separation on my finish coat, so which means like fish eyes, and I wrestled this for a long time, lost several days. So this is after that issue, and just blasting on some of the, I don't know if this is first or final coat of finish, but yeah, you'll see the tables came out great. Lost almost 2 weeks, a lot of stress, but it's par for the course. And now I am fully educated on that finish. So there's that. Looking good. All right, so we're laying out our holes to secure the C-channel and the legs. So this is where I like using a brad point bit that fits just inside the slot, but I can turn it so the cutters touch. That keeps me centered, and then I'm aligning the side-to-side alignment. Just eyeball it, and with a brad point bit, I have that nice little indentation, and I use a drill guide to get a nice perpendicular hole. I use the Rampatech SKD 330 inserts. They come in 1/4-20 M6, M8, probably some other sizes too. But what's nice about the 330 is they have 3 sets of threads, and that also helps ensure that they go in nice and square, and they have a flange at the top. I've also noticed with the 3 threads versus a single threaded insert, you don't need a chamfer on the top couple layers of wood. You know, they don't really put a lot of strain in one isolated area. So they're really nice, and that flange kind of caps everything off, gives it a really, really good fit and finish. Highly recommend Rampatech. And I use their hardware. You'll see, or as you can see, I have the driver attachment. You don't want to use an impact, but use your drill, set the clutch, and you're in decent shape with driving those home. I think on my Fest tool, what is it, a T18 or something? I think that's the drill. It's the speed's at 1 and the clutch is around 9, and that seems to work really well most of the time. So then I do all of my hardware by hand. I don't think it's a little overkill to use any type of power tool to put hardware in. So there they are, looking good. And now it's time for the crate. I don't know if this is backwards or not, but put the logo on the crate. Branding opportunity, I suppose. There's some other cool features here we'll show you. So I had this stencil made, local sign shop did it, and it's reusable, you know, so now I have it. It's like a really thin plasticky material. Pretty nice. I also had them cut me a couple arrows. Yeah, so like you need arrows on your crate to make sure it's always in the upward direction. Anyway, the crate was a little bit of a debacle. I ordered a crate. There's a local guy, he builds crates, and he stopped by. I gave him the specs. Oh, hold that thought. All right, so threaded inserts to hold the lid of the crate down, but can't expect them to have the tool, so a couple rare earth magnets. Put the tool in the crate, cover it up, and yes, I did include an empty bag with replacement stickers so they can get the tool back stowed away. Anyway, here we are. How do we get the tables in the crate? 2 tables, 4 legs, lots of polyethylene foam. So we secured some nylon webbing, 2-inch nylon webbing via some foam and cling wrap. And what we did is we lowered them down. So it was, we left the tails out and just shot a brief little video to our customer and let them know, hey, the shorter straps are for the top table, right? Or vice versa, whatever. I sent them a video to explain which straps went to which table, top or bottom. I'm sure they could have figured it out. Anyway, here's putting the lid on. Greg from KG Fabrication does all the metal work for us, our customers. So he had some time. Really, he knew I was getting my butt kicked on this project, and he came by and helped me out. It was a huge help, and I just really appreciate his effort, time. It's valuable, and he's a good dude. Look him up if you're in the upstate New York area. sure he'd be more than happy to come by, look at whatever you have, and even if you're out of the area, figure out shipping. He's really good, and he's learned a lot. We've grown together. And KG, what's up? So anyway, let me tell you about this crate real quick. I ordered based on inside dimensions, and I couldn't exceed some outside dimensions, and I didn't, but I didn't account for one set of the legs on the crate that I ordered, so I had to actually rebuild the crate. And Andy from Alexander Butcher Block, that's who my shop is it's kind of like a guild collaboration type thing. We share a shop. I'm more of a guest in their shop, and there's the tables, man, at the show. They made it. Pretty awesome. Super appreciative. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say in the comments. I know it's a longer video, but that's the full scope of a project, and touching a little bit on each part of it. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, Instagram is a great way to see what we have going on more of a day-to-day basis, I guess. And legendwoodcrafts.com. Hit us up. Questions, looking for furniture, help, you're a woodworker, you're a customer. We'd love to hear from you either way. In the meantime, take good care, and signing off. Peace out.